All right, I'm going to attempt my first instructional video on how to use the Pico projector. So this is the projector that I've been using to put images and words onto my cookies. And I've been showing the videos of me using it on Instagram lately. So this is it. Let me show you first of all how I hook it up. It doesn't come with these cables, you have to buy them extra. So you need a mini HDMI, goes down to a normal size HDMI, and then buy this Apple connector to the Lightning. Okay, and then it's got another hole in here to another spot, and this is just if I need to plug it in, charge my iPad while I'm working on it. Then the Pico battery is not very good at all. I find that it always runs out halfway through my projects, so I usually have it plugged in. So this is just the power cord, and it's just down and around and plugged into my kitchen island there. So I have it plugged in all the time. It's a little finicky. You can see the red button, so I kind of have to wiggle it back and forth. Okay, so that's the setup. This is a phone holder off of Amazon, and it just clamps down onto my kitchen counter. And then it also stretches wide enough that it'll hold my great big Note 8 phone, and then I can turn it sideways when I'm doing my videos and I'm not using my Pico, so I can put it flat and I can video what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm gonna turn the Pico on. So you just hold this button for a minute, the green light up on the top will come on. You'll see it come down on here. You need to have a white surface so you can see it. So I usually have parchment on my counter. The images always come up, it comes up reverse when you first load it up. You need to get over to this setting box. So you just use these little up and down arrows. So I'm going to scroll over to the settings gear box, push the center button to select it, and then use the arrows, scroll down to projection. You don't have very long. You'll see here I stopped doing anything. It only takes a couple seconds and it goes back to your main screen. You can also see, well, can you see? Yeah, you can see where it's highlighted. So I highlight the gear again, go down to projection, center click, and then I click it 4 times, and it says invert front, and then click the center box, and that brings you to this page. You scroll down to your cable selection and over to HDMI. And I'm just using the arrows and the center to move and select. Okay, so now it's all selected. Now you'll see it's mirrors what is on my iPad. Now we're connected. So when I'm trying to put words, like if I wanted special words like this, I usually use a program on my iPad called Phonto, Phonto, Phonto. And you would go, let's get rid of this guy here, reset. It took me a bit to figure this out, even though it seems like a pretty basic thing, but I'm not good at this stuff. So, okay, plain image. I just select basically a black box. You go up to the button in the corner, use. Okay, now I've got just a blank screen. So now if I want to add some text, you just tap on the screen. I always center what I'm doing. Fonts. I've downloaded all these fonts from dafont.com. You just hit the download button on Dafont and it'll tell you, oh, do you want to download it to Phonto? And it'll open right up in Phonto. It's pretty lickety split. It works pretty good. Okay, let's use this guy here. So let's type in Mrs. Whoops, sorry, font, click. Okay. Why is my, oh, I see where it is. It's over on the right-hand side. Okay. Okay, Mrs. Miller. Okay, and then just hit done. Now, it doesn't really matter the size too much because I'm going to manipulate it in the next program when I'm going to put it on the cookie, but if you wanted to, you can just use your little slide bar here and do it. As soon as you touch the screen, then it's set. Okay, so then I would screenshot it, and it would save to my gallery. And then I go and I open up this other app called Camera Lucida. This is the app that I use when I'm using anything, like when I'm trying to put images on or fonts on to my cookies. You can manipulate it, you can turn it around, you can resize it really good. You know, you can get down really small. It's a really handy app to have. And you'll notice in the background, like it's a camera app of some sort. I haven't really played with it that much other than to do this, but yeah. Anyways, it goes away. It goes opaque when you're done touching it. But when you're playing with it, you can see behind it. Okay, so let's go and find that Mrs. Miller. There it is, loaded out. Okay, so then I can just manipulate, you know, if I'm trying to put it onto my, now it's projecting onto my cookie, and I would just manipulate it where I want it. So these thank you cookies that I'm doing, we can load that up. So go to my gallery, find my thank you. There's my thank you image. And then I just play with it until I get it the size that I want. Okay. That's probably maybe just a tad bigger. Okay. And then get my son to hang on to the camera, and then I will show you when you're working with the projector. You have to learn how to kind of keep the icing bag off to the side as you're working with it. My icing, it takes a while. Icing is definitely the key to text, to get the right consistency so that it flows nice, but it doesn't flow too much. It is just a matter of playing with it. It's taken me quite a few months to kind of get it figured out. Okay, so you just go through your cookie and work your way around it. Now the other thing I do is if I'm doing a lot of images, I find it much easier to use the Sugar Bell light brown pens. You get them at Michael's. And I use those to trace the images, and I'll go through and I'll do them all on my cookies, and then I'll shut all the gadgets off, and I'll just go through and copy over the edible marker. It's a lot easier to do that, especially with images, than trying to be working with the projector. I find it way easier. Okay. I can't remember exactly how many cookies I could get through before the battery would die, but I got really tired of my Pico projector always dying right in the middle of doing a cookie, so I just started plugging it in all the time. Okay, so that's that. So that's how you would use it. Okay, now the other thing, so if you are going to, if I wanted to load up an image, I already have it up. So I've pulled this up in clip art. Now you can see, like, if I try to use it right from clip art, you can't really make it small enough to fit on a cookie. I mean, it's huge. So that's why I would screenshot it. So I've already took a screenshot of this heart. So I would go back to my Lucida app, go to my camera roll, and there's my heart. And then you can see there, I can reduce it down in size a lot. Okay, so then you can see how tiny it would be on there. Okay. And the other thing I would do when I first got my Pico and then trying to get used to it is I would just lay down parchment paper and I would just practice. I would put a whole bunch of words on my screen and I would just practice tracing. And it took quite a while before, you know, your words don't look so wobbly, and most of that is just finding the right consistency. You find when the icing is flowing just right, even if you wobble a bit, it tends to even itself out. So, all right, so that is the Pico projector and the apps I use, all wrapped up in a nutshell. So I hope that helps, and thank you for watching.